Well. Good afternoon, West Ham fans. Let's talk about the David Moyes press conference ahead of the game on Sunday against Fulham. Yes, everybody. Hope you're safe and well. It's Hammer's Headlines in association with the KUMB.com, boys. As we always do on a Friday, we basically do a synopsis of the Dave Moyes press conference. Obviously, quick turnaround time, given the fact that obviously we only played last night. So the press conferences don't tend to be that exciting. In fact, I think some of the journalists got a bit bored. Some of the questions were a bit shit, I'll be honest. Asking about the Masters coming up, the Golf Masters, and semi-automated offside. There's a few more interesting and important things to talk about than who's going to win the Masters, but we cover that as well. We'll come to that. So, as I said, check out these on around.com for all the latest news and reviews, but we're going to crack on. Let's talk about what Moyes said in terms of his disappointment with the game yesterday. Huge disappointment because they, as in us, worked really hard to keep a good team down. But we knew Leverkusen were very strong and have 16 to 17 players. Could you imagine having 16 to 17 players you could call upon who they play and who are very much part of the squad? A squad? What's one of them? And they came on and made a difference. I was pleased with what we did, but disappointed with what happened at the end. I know they're a good side and we need to play well. We have the second half to go and we'll have to do better. And we will have to do better, Mr. Moyes. Right? We will have to do better. And indeed, today, myself and Anton, we had a good bit of banter, I think, in terms of Anthony's even more optimistic than me. And I was trying to, but it was good chat. To go back and chat at lunchtime today, we had a bit of a therapy session because it really is about just getting Thursday out of our system now. We've got 6 league games, which we have to try and get as many points as possible for. Because that battle for Europe is going to be critical, I think. And not necessarily for David Moyes, but for whoever is the manager, the head coach next season. Because not only that, but also in terms of encouraging the likes of Kudus to hang around, Bowen to hang around, Alvarez to hang around. If we have still got European football, it's a massive draw. Massive draw for us and for the fans as well, and for the players. Asked about team news, he says we've only just got back today and the players have had a recovery session. I don't think we'll have Jared at the weekend, and I'm not sure about Alphonse and Calvin Phillips. Dino felt something, but I'm not sure if it's bad or not yet. So basically, no idea at all what's going on. Well, you know that Bowen will definitely be out. There's no return date on him as such, but the words that Moyes used there were slightly encouraging. I know I'm grasping at straws, but were slightly encouraging, saying, I don't think we'll have him for the weekend. So maybe that might mean he might be fit for Thursday. We'll see. The likelihood is, I saw on Premier Injuries that Alphonse was given a return date of about 2 weeks' time. So we'll see if that's true or not. And there was no return date for Calvin Phillips on there. Dinos is an interesting one. Would if he is injured or he has felt something, I wouldn't play him on Sunday. I think we've got enough centre half wise. We've got Naif, we've got even Bonner. I think those two might play maybe on Sunday. Can Zuma do another 90 minutes? He's literally, I think his legs are going to just fall off. He's going to be like one of those clown cars where everything it's going to be a point where literally everything just breaks. So I don't know how he's still going. He's doing 90 minutes after 90 minutes after 90 minutes, 2 game weeks for someone who's not, he doesn't necessarily do training as such. And I think it's going to happen sooner rather than later. So if we can give him a rest, although the trouble is, what I don't like is then you've got 2 left-footed centre-halves playing against the side, which includes the player of the month for March, Rodrigo Muniz. He is the first player from Fulham to win the Premier League Player of the Month since Mark Schwarzer in 2010, 2011, something like that. They've only had 3 players who have got Player of the Month. Him, Schwarzer, and Louis Saha, who was it was in the first month they got promoted for the first time in 2001 season. Mental. Always here with the stats for you guys. Always here for the stats. Now, potentially, unbelievably, if you look at the table, if results go our way and whatnot, a win on Sunday could see us go to 6th in the Premier League. And he was asked about that specifically. And it says a lot that we're still at this stage of the season, we're still fighting for a European spot. The players have done very well, but we need to show up again. And indeed, we do. During the lunchtime show, I went through sort of a bit of the permutations in terms of what would happen. In terms of, because everyone's like, is it 7th? Is it 8th? And the simplest way of this is just looking at it at face value now, rather than what could happen. At the moment, we've got 4 spots, 4 Champions League spots. We have 2 Europa spots. One of those spots goes to the 5th place team. One of the spots goes to the FA Cup winner. The FA Cup winner is obviously the semi-final stage. We've got Man City, Man United, Chelsea, and Coventry. Now, we want to be cheering on the Manchester clubs, really. I know you'd love Coventry to win it because it's always nice, but obviously that'd take our crown, wouldn't it? Being the last club outside of the top flight to have won the FA Cup all the way in 1980. No one's done it since then. But a win, a FA Cup win for either Manchester club will benefit us because both of them are pretty sure they're going to be qualified in the top 6 or top 5. If that's the case, then 6th place will be a Europa League spot, with the 7th spot being available for the Carabao Cup winner, who is Liverpool. And so if Liverpool doesn't, obviously Liverpool will hopefully be in the top 6, so therefore it will go to 7th spot. If Villa win the Conference League, as a matter, of course, of them winning the Conference League, obviously they're going to the Europa League. If they're already in the Europa League, it means nothing. It won't be dropped to an 8th spot. It means nothing really for that. If it was one, if Villa were outside the top spot, then you'd get that European spot. Plus, like what we did last year, we weren't in the top. Was it 12, 14, something like last year, weren't we? But we still progressed because we had the extra spot in Europe because we won the league and won the Conference League. We went into Europa League. That, so unless Villa have a massive fall from grace and are out of European spots, doesn't make no difference. And that only really affects Villa rather than anyone else. If West Ham win the Europa League or if Liverpool win the Europa League, obviously, we would qualify automatically for the Champions League. If Liverpool win it, it doesn't mean that they get dropped into the another place. But what it does mean is for the coefficient scores. So on Liverpool actually winning it doesn't necessarily guarantee a 5th spot for the Premier League. But what it does do is add to the coefficient scores. So there's 3 teams, basically 3 countries: Italy, us, and Germany. Italy are basically top of the coefficient scores. Then it's very close between us and Germany. So based on the performance of the latter stage of the cups now, in terms of Europe, if we won, say, the Conference and the Champions League, that should be enough points to overcome our German rivals and get a 5th spot. If that's the case, it goes away down, and 8th would, based on if Manchester either Manchester club win the FA Cup, it will go to 8th spot in terms of the Conference League. Clear as mud, I hope. Anyway, so we could go to 6th, which would be huge, potentially. Asked about what his target is for this season. The goal is to try and be a European side again if we can. That's always been my thoughts, as we've had 3 years which have been brilliant for us. And if we make it 4, it'll be fantastic, particularly as we'll really miss it when we don't have European football. And not just miss it from the fans' perspective, but for the players' perspective. You got to think we've got a situation now where we've got some very good players. We've got some players who potentially are coming into the end of their contracts. You've got some players also who have a release clause coming into their contract soon as well. as of the summer. Obviously, we've got a rebuild job. We could have a new head coach. We might not have a head coach. We don't know yet. But having European football does make us a more attractive prospect for employing head coaches, for getting new bodies in the side in terms of names. Having European football does help, while it's also maintaining the status quo for people who are already in the club, the likes of Kudus, Alvarez, people like that. Not saying that if we don't have European football, they'll leave, but it doesn't help the conversation. But we'll see what happens at the end of the season when it all comes out in the wash. Obviously, we need to bounce back from yesterday. And asked about disappointments. It's something that comes around in football all the time, but you have the opportunity to put it right in the next game. We've had a brilliant away win at Wolves last weekend, and now we're back at home where we've done well with the majority of the season. So I hope we can get another good result at home. Every time you win, builds a little bit of momentum. I thought we did a lot of good things at Leverkusen, partly because of what we did at Wolves. We always go into a game with hope, and things can alter football very quickly. So hopefully we can change it against Leverkusen next week. Asked about the quick turnaround time. It's difficult mentally to get back and get the players ready. Physically, you need time to recover, debrief, and get things out of the way. I'm not sure you can ever get used to it, but we've been doing it for 3 years and we're getting a bit more used to how we need to feel on the day of the game. We have a day or two to recover and be ready for the next game, so we'll do our best to be ready for Fulham on Sunday. Asked about Fulham, he said, I think Marco has done a really good job at Fulham, stabilised them a lot, and they don't look like a side who may have been threatened by relegation in any way. They might be a little bit disappointed by the league position, but Marco has done a great job, a really good job, and Fulham have a lot of really good players. And indeed, don't forget, we were linked to some of them, including João Palhinha, wasn't he? And so he'll be up against potentially Edson Alvarez. He comes back from a 2-match suspension. Obviously, he's also can play on Thursday as well, so maybe it'd be double duty for him, I'd imagine, in the next from Sunday and Thursday. But yeah, they could be, Fulham could be a little bit not hard done by, but in terms of where they are in the league, they should be probably a bit higher up, I'd suggest. They do have, as I said, Muniz, who is a player very much in form, going for very much a purple patch at the moment. And it's going to be interesting. Obviously, we have been linked with Marco Silva as our new head coach, potentially, with a release clause around £7-8 million, I think it is. So maybe it's an audition for him. Who knows? Maybe he signed already. We don't know. No one knows. If anyone who read the back pages of the Independent Wednesday or Thursday, blazing the back, Paulo Fonseca's our number one choice. Is he? Isn't he? Don't know. We did a big show about Paulo a couple of weeks ago, so go back and check it, and you can find a bit more about him and see he's the right man for the job or not. Could be. Asked, and then they got a bit silly. They started asking about random questions. I don't know why, but they asked about the news that the semi-automatic offside rules, not artillery, will be coming into force next season. Asked his thoughts. I think it will speed up things by all accounts, which will help. But like every new thing, we'll have to wait and see. It surprised me it's taking so long to get this technology. You think with how much of our lives we've got maps and things like that, and Live 360 and all that, so we can track people, track our watches. If we can't find our phone, puts the phone down. You think they'd have introduced that earlier, but anyway, we'll see what happens. Apparently, it's going to be available. I think not from the beginning of the season. I think it's a few games in. I think, but they're taking the same technology. Adapting the technology that they've used in the World Cup in Qatar. They had it in the Champions League as well. So we'll see. And Finalamon, he was asked about the Masters, because that's not kicking off, teeing off very soon already. So asked his pick. I'm looking forward to getting back home, kicking my shoes off, and watching the golf tonight for a few hours, as I've not seen any of it yet. I'm a big golf fan. Scotty Schieffler is the favourite, but I'd love to see Rory McIlroy win. What a surprise. Oh, sorry, it's the second round of the Masters. Sorry, day 2. My bad. Great. Brilliant. Thanks, that Dave. I can't imagine him kicking off his shoes, going back, kicking off his shoes, putting the golf on, whiskey in hand. It's a strange way to think. Strange way to leave to finish a press conference, really. But anyway, that's it. Check out newsonmybrand.com for the latest news, reviews, and opinions. And we may well see Irish Tommy tonight, I think, maybe. Doing a late show. I'm sure we'll find that in an hour. He'll text me or so. I'm going to do one. So it's going to be quite interesting. Until next time, take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble. Keep the faith. Come on, you Irons.